In the last video, we already built our game world with grass and trees, but our panda still feels like it's sliding across the map. In this episode, we are gonna fix that. We'll give our panda a walking animation and an idle animation, and make the camera smoothly follow the player. By the end of this video, our game will already start feeling much more like a real game. Everything we built today belongs to our player. So we'll go to the player node. You can see we have a sprite2D and a collision shape attached to a character body. A sprite2D displays a single image which is perfect for static objects, but our panda needs to move. So we'll just delete the sprite and we would replace it with our new node, which is animated sprite 2D. You see no image appears here. Animated sprite 2D stores all its animations inside SpriteFrames. So I'll click here and select SpriteFrames. You can see SpriteFrames tab has opened. Now let's add our first animation. Our panda won't be always walking, sometimes it'll just stand still. So let's create the idle animation first. I'll click here to change the name of default and I would name it to idle. Now I'd click here which is add frames from a sprite sheet since I have a sprite sheet. I would select this panda idle sprite sheet. I would select all the sprites that I need and add 25 frames. If I play it, you can see the animation is playing. If you select them in the wrong order, you can rearrange them or you can import them again. I would also set the FPS to 12 for this animation, and now you can see that I have only changed our player node, and to see the collision I would bring it down. You can see our collisions and sprites have not aligned, so I would change the scale of it so that they both align, and if I play it you can see that the idle animation is not playing, which is fine because we haven't added it into the script yet. Now let's try to play idle animation by default. So I'll go to the player script and I would add a function in the ready function, which is inbuilt function in Godot, which plays when the scene is loaded. I'm calling play idle animation. So if I run this scene, you can see that our panda is doing an idle animation. Even if I move, it's doing idle animation because we are not telling it when to stop. So it keeps on doing the idle animation. So to fix this, let's introduce our walk animation now. To add walk animation, I would go to sprite frames again. I would follow the same steps, but this time I need to add a new animation. So I would click here to add a new animation. I would name it as walk. I would select a sprite sheet to walk. Select all. You can select your sprites as per your requirement and your sprite sheets. And if I go to 2D and if I just play it, you can see the walk is there. Again, this is 12 FPS, so I would make it 12 here, and you can see it's walking smoothly right now. But this won't be displayed. As we saw for the idle animation, we need to introduce it into the script. So to switch the animations, let's go back to our script. If you can see, we already have our velocity, so our player already knows where to move. Instead of creating another variable or something else, let's just use this velocity. So we have a simple if else statement here which says if velocity is greater than 0, we walk, else we are idle. Very simple. So if I play the scene, you can see it's idle, and if I click move, it walks. You can already see a problem here that the idle is working fine, the walk right is working fine, but if I do left, the player is doing a Michael Jackson step, which we don't really want for this game. So what we can do to avoid this is to flip our sprite when we are moving left. We can simply add the following code. So we have added a simple code to check if the velocity is less than 0, then we flip our sprite, that is we are moving left. And if the velocity is greater than 0, we don't flip it, that is we move right. So if I play it, you can see the player is moving left and right, which is perfect for our use case. And when the velocity is 0, it's stationary. Note that here I am using just the flip edge to animate the left and right direction, but if you have something special, like maybe your character has something like sword which you want to show only on the left side or right side, or some unique thing, then you can always have a different animation here. Instead of flipping, you can play the different animation like walk right or walk left instead of this. So it's all up to you. You can even have a diagonal movements animation, but for this tutorial, to keep it simple, we're just gonna have two animations and flipping it. So our game world is fine up till this moment, but as you can see, our panda can already move out of the screen, come back, go out, and there is only so much space that I can give my panda to move in. I want my panda to have a little more space. I want to make the world bigger. So I need something to follow my panda. Something like a camera following a character. To do that, I'm going to come back in the player node, click player, and I would add a Camera2D node. There is an enabled property here. You must ensure that it's turned on so that it follows our player. So if I click play, you can see it's already centered on my player. So if I move the player, you can see the player stays in the center and the camera moves with it. Even if I go out of the bounds, the camera still follows me. Now you can see our world is not enough to contain our panda. So to fix it, you can either make your background bigger, you can add a canvas layer to it, or just make the world bigger and bound it by some collisions. Following the player is already much better, but we can make it smoother. So we enable position smoothing, and if I click play again, you can see instead of always being in center, the camera slowly follows panda, and when I stop, it catches up to the panda. This feels much more natural and gives player a sense that he is moving in the direction. Our panda has come a long way. Now it has an idle animation, walking animation. It turns face to the direction it moves horizontally, and the camera follows it wherever it goes. In the next episode, we'll finally add the first gameplay mechanic by creating collectible coins. If you are following along, I would love to know how your panda is turning out. Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you